This particular exhibition, the first exhibition of my mother's and my grandmother's work, it's initiated by Karen Wright. Karen also integrated me into the exhibition, so it's 3 generations talking together somehow. There was a day organized and we started here at the old city library. It was people from art institutions in different countries in Europe, people from Icelandic art world and people from the countryside that came, and friends of the family obviously seeing the first things that my mother exhibits. From here we went to the bar of Hótel Holt, which is also a big collection of key 20th century Icelandic artists. And they integrated one of my works together with old works. And then we went 45 minutes drive outside of Reykjavik to Skúli Mogensen, who owns Wow Air, because he has plans to open up a sculpture park there. It was exciting to see the grounds before any artwork actually comes there and to meet him, and I hope that later people will come back and they will remember this trip. Then we drove to the farm where my mother grew up, where we saw the exhibition with the works of my mother and my grandmother. Karen was interested in the recycling aspect of my mother, cutting down clothes and making the balls and somehow bringing in the history of the family into that ball. She also used boxes from appliances that me or my brother or my father or her bought at some point, and then she painted one side of it with white paint, and then she was drawing with pencil stories and memories from her youth that are also stories and memories coming from conversations with my grandmother that they had over a span of 20 years.
When I was in art school, I started to collect the boxes because I was going to make artwork out of them. So it was a kind of environmental criticism, collecting the boxes because it was so much material used. I started just to make drawings to use them, and I like making stories.
My mother forbade me to tell anyone that she was doing these things for 25 years or something like that. And my grandmother died in 2010, and then after that Karen came in, it kind of all opened up, and now we're exhibiting those things for the first time. My grandmother actually wasn't making art, you know, these are utile things. She made shopping bags out of Christmas ribbons, or she made carpets for the floor made out of her old stockings. And that is assembling, you know, from already existing things, but creating something new out of it. So it doesn't matter if you're an artist or a normal person, you know, we are all creative beings, and that's something older than being an artist, you know. I grew up partly with my grandmother, so I was always digging inside her drawers that were full of things that she was always using, and it was like an endless resource. So I think that also my approach of using daily objects, like in this exhibition, for example, the cowboy boots, or I've used plastic buckets and things like that to then make art out of it. It might have its root there. It's also this play that is so important. I think that the notion of play is in all of us. In a lot of my works where I'm creating worlds with characters, I felt it was almost too childish to exhibit it. I felt like people will not take it seriously. With the trolls in Venice, for example, I was playing with those characters. Imaginary characters, but still there's a dialogue, so they did things that I would not have done myself.
There are many people coming here to the pavilion today. Not as many as yesterday though. It was crazy. I'm still getting over it.
In the beginning of the exhibition there's this video of my mother in her alter ego where she's pretending to be a bus driver. We pitched down her voice, so it seems like she has a male voice.
Og svo var skúrið fullur og alls konar koppafetti og smurningsoljum og...
It was very easy to imagine a story about it because it's just real from my childhood, you know. I just told the story from some people I knew, so I just pretended to be them.
In play you can do mistakes and you can try out new things. You learn. Maybe we should practice more play, you know.
How much did you have? I'm not sure. A lot. Me too. It's a good